They called Earth a nursery, the alien said, eyes glinting with contempt, a soft rock where weaklings played at survival. Deathworlders? Pure myth. The human smiled. Slowly. Not a grin born of humor, but of knowing. Behind them, the predator stirred, massive and coiled, muscles rippling under scales that reflected the dim light of the alien vessel. It had hunted for centuries across multiple systems. It had never hesitated, never lost. And yet now, it paused, eyes fixed on the human. The aliens laughed again, a harsh, metallic sound that echoed through the observation chamber. Do you see what you call humans? One fragile form against a creature that could tear you apart in moments. The human extended a hand. Calm. Deliberate. Time stretched. The predator's snarl deepened, but the hand didn't tremble. The human's gaze locked with the beast's, steady, unwavering, something ancient reflected in those eyes. And then, impossibly, the predator's tension relaxed. Muscles that could crush steel softened. Its gaze, so often filled with unchallenged dominion, lingered on the human as if recognizing something beyond comprehension. The aliens froze. This was not training. Not technology. Not telepathy. It was something older. Something instinctive. The human stepped forward. Each movement measured, purposeful, radiating authority without threat. Do you feel fear? They asked softly, voice carrying across the chamber. The predator tilted its massive head, as if considering. Then it lowered itself, not in submission, but in acknowledgement. Laughter turned to whispers. Confusion swept through the alien ranks. They had studied Deathworlders and Holar Accords, simulated their combat, predicted their behavior. All of it was wrong. All of it. And then the human spoke, not to the predator, but to the room. Power is not in domination. It is in control. Not control of others, control of yourself. The aliens did not understand. The predator understood perfectly. Across the galaxy, humanity had been underestimated for centuries, until today, until now, until the slow, deliberate demonstration of a species that had mastered instinct, intellect, and presence in ways no other life form could measure. Out in the void, where stars hung silent like distant eyes, humanity had already staked its claim, not with fleets, not with bombs, not with threats, but with presence. Awareness. Authority so innate it could calm the deadliest hunters the galaxy had ever known. This was Earth's truth. Not a myth. Not a legend. Not a cautionary tale. The aliens would remember this moment. For all their technology, all their history, all their pride, they would remember the day a human simply reached out, and the predator obeyed. And the galaxy, whether it knew it yet or not, began to shift. The predator, now calm, lingered beside the human as if tethered by invisible threads of trust. The aliens scrambled, trying to regain control, issuing orders that the beast ignored entirely. Their weapons hummed with power, but the human made no move toward them, and yet the threat of harm seemed to vanish. Word spread fast. Not through holocoms or transmissions, but through instinct, observation, and whispers. The humans of Earth were unlike anything the galaxy had catalogued. Creatures that had been considered apex predators themselves paused in the presence of a single human, and did so willingly. The aliens debated strategies in their chambers. It must be some bioengineering trick, one said, voice tight. A chemical or neural override. There is no other explanation. The human overheard, and without speaking, stepped into the open chamber again. The predator followed. Silence fell over the assembly, a silence so profound it pressed against every sensor and every consciousness in the room. Then the human spoke. Not loudly. Not in threat. Just words that seemed to ripple across the room, resonating in mind and matter alike. Do you know why we survive? The aliens glanced at one another, some of them afraid to respond. The predator's low rumble was like a soft heartbeat. Because we understand what it means to be tested. We do not break. We do not surrender instinctively. We do not rely on luck. We act, even when everything tells us we cannot. The aliens still did not understand, yet instinctively, they felt the truth of it. Something about humanity was not merely physical. It was behavioral, cerebral, and somehow, existential. A species that could survive environments that would kill most sentient life, that could endure threats no other species would imagine, that could face predators far beyond their own size and emerge not just alive, but dominant in subtle, unquantifiable ways. Over the following days, the humans demonstrated further. They allowed the predator to test them, circling and lunging, measuring its strength against theirs. Every time the predator struck, the human adapted, never flinching, never panicking, never betraying fear. Where instinct screamed retreat, humanity held steady. The aliens watched through every lens, every scope, every sensor array. Their simulations failed. Their calculations shattered. Each attack the predator made was countered with patience, with timing, with calm that no algorithm could predict. One of the alien commanders finally whispered, almost to themselves, "It's impossible." The human smiled again, brushing a hand lightly over the predator's crest. The creature leaned into the touch, muscles relaxing as if understanding not only that it could not harm this human, but that it would not want to. A ripple of dread passed through the alien assembly. If this was one human, one individual, then what could the entirety of Earth's population do? What could a species that had mastered both mind and body, both fear and courage, accomplish on a galactic scale? By the time the human departed the chamber, the predator obediently following, every alien in the room was silent. They had seen legends in simulators. They had heard warnings from explorers. But nothing, could prepare them for the calm mastery displayed in flesh and will. And somewhere, deep in the void between galaxies, humanity's reputation grew, not through rumor or fear, but through proof. Proof that Deathworlders were not a myth, they were reality. And humanity was their apex. Across the orbital platforms of Deathworlders 9, alien scientists and commanders scrambled to interpret the reports streaming in. Every observation from the chamber with the predator had been transmitted in real time, and every sensor on the planet's surface was recording anomalies. Ships malfunctioned without explanation. Defense turrets locked on nothing. AI cores recalibrated their objectives as if the planet itself was whispering instructions. No one had yet realized the truth: the humans did not simply confront danger. They reframed it. The first encounter occurred on the tundra plains of the planet's northern hemisphere. A Predator-class apex predator had been released from containment for testing. It was enormous, lethal, and precise, a perfect specimen of a species that had never failed to kill. The alien scientists expected chaos. They had calculated every possible scenario. And yet, when the human approached, nothing happened. The creature sniffed the air, muscles coiling. Humans had weapons, armor, numbers. But the human carried nothing. No shields, no implants, not even a blade. Only presence. The predator lunged. And the human did not move. Instead, they stepped aside at the last instant, allowing the creature to pass harmlessly. They circled, never showing aggression, never betraying fear. Slowly, deliberately, the predator began to mimic their movements. The aliens recording this went silent. Their simulations had failed. All algorithms indicated the predator would attack, yet here it was, almost obedient. The human extended a hand. A subtle, almost imperceptible gesture. The predator hesitated, sniffed, and then leaned in. It allowed the human to stroke its head. Its snarls softened into a low rumble that reverberated across the sensors. One of the alien commanders whispered, disbelief twisting his words, "It submits?" The human turned, eyes scanning the observation team, and smiled lightly. Not submission. Understanding. Fear is natural. But it does not need to control you. Respect is different. Across the planet, other humans began similar demonstrations. They interacted with predators, with alien fauna, with environmental hazards no one had dared to survive. Every instance seemed to defy probability. A species designed to be fragile in simulation now operated with perfect awareness, adapting to threats instinctively and calmly. Word of these events reached orbital fleets. Simulations were updated. Commanders recalculated. Entire tactical doctrines were rewritten in a matter of days. The galaxy was beginning to realize that these humans were unlike any species ever encountered. By the time the humans returned to the observation chamber, the predator followed them willingly, curling at their feet. The aliens stared, the full weight of comprehension dawning. This was not luck. Not chance. Not tricks or technology. Humanity's dominance lay in a harmony of mind and instinct, of courage and calculation, of understanding the predator and themselves. One alien muttered to a colleague, voice trembling, "All our research, it means nothing. We have underestimated them. Every calculation, every simulation, useless." And deep in the stars beyond Dirith 9, other human observers were taking notes, preparing for challenges even more dangerous than this one. For every alien predator, every hostile environment, every unpredictable system in the galaxy, humanity would meet it not with aggression but with calm mastery. The galaxy had been warned, though few yet understood the full extent. Humans were Deathworlders. The myths were true. And the truth was far more terrifying than legend had ever suggested. The news spread faster than any transmission protocol could manage. By the time the alien governors received reports of the humans' demonstrations, fleets had already begun adjusting their formations, not to attack, but to observe. Every command issued by the aliens seemed tentative, as though the humans' presence had altered the natural laws of expectation. On the capital world of Varkes, the High Council convened. Holographic displays flickered with footage from the northern tundras, the predator encounters, and other human missions across Deathworlds. Every simulation, every defensive algorithm, every tactical model collapsed under the pattern of calm mastery the humans exhibited. They are not invincible, one elder insisted, but they are unnatural. They anticipate in ways our sensors cannot measure. They respond before a threat exists. Another counselor leaned forward, voice tight with unease. Our fleets will fail. Our weapons, our strategies, our finest minds, all obsolete. The humans had not even tried to conquer, had not fired a single weapon, yet the galaxy was bending to their presence. Ships in orbit hesitated, cargo vessels paused mid-docking, and predators, both natural and engineered, ceased aggression in their wake. Meanwhile, the humans moved with deliberate focus. On Varkes itself, they walked among alien wildlife, studied the terrain, and engaged the most lethal predators the planet had to offer. Each encounter was a demonstration of subtle authority. Each gesture, each step, communicated a control that no species could resist or mimic. By the end of the first week, every alien intelligence on the planet had reported the same anomaly: the humans were rewriting instinct itself. Where predators had once acted on pure hunger, they now responded to signals of understanding. Where the aliens had relied on brute force, they found hesitation creeping into their fleets. It was not domination. It was presence. The Council attempted to convene a countermeasure. Fleets were dispatched, warships bristling with weapons, ready to strike. But as they approached the humans' positions, the ships faltered. Systems recalibrated, sensors misread distances, targeting arrays locked onto nothing. The humans were not attacking, yet their awareness of every vector, every approach, every possibility seemed to neutralize any threat without action. A young counselor, observing from a peripheral station, whispered, "They don't just survive. They shape the battlefield before it even exists." The humans' calm mastery extended beyond the predators. Entire planetary systems adjusted their behavior around them. Automated mining drones paused when humans approached. Rogue storms seemed to shift away. Predators thought unstoppable, waited instead of striking. And then, when the humans finally departed, Varkis, the predator, the one they had first encountered, followed them to orbit, standing watch, not as a prisoner, but as a companion. The High Council sat in stunned silence. Across the galaxy, messages arrived from other systems, all reporting the same phenomena. Fleets faltered. Predators obeyed. Environments shifted. And always, the humans moved forward with patience, calm, and complete understanding of what they confronted. Somewhere, deep in the galaxy's edge, an elder whispered in horror and awe, "We have been shown the truth. Deathworlders are not a myth. Humanity is the apex." The galaxy had begun to bend, not through fear, but through comprehension. Every empire, every colony, every predator-class species now knew that humans were not merely survivors. They were something else entirely, a species that understood life, death, and instinct in a way no other had ever achieved. And far beyond, where light barely touched the void, humans continued their silent march, stroking predators calm, studying worlds, and leaving behind proof that the myths had been understatement. The news of Varkis spread like wildfire. Entire sectors recalculated their strategies. Fleets that had once been confident in their firepower now moved cautiously, shadowing humans rather than engaging them. Even the most war-hardened admirals hesitated when they considered that one human, unarmed, could neutralize predators and environmental threats with nothing but presence. Diplomatic councils convened across the galaxy. Messages flew between systems, not demanding allegiance, but seeking understanding. Humans had not threatened, had not demanded, had not used force, and yet every alien civilization recognized that to confront them recklessly would be suicide. On the icy world of the Rix, human envoys walked among alien leaders, observing, listening, asking questions that seemed innocuous at first. And yet each question revealed gaps in their knowledge, exposed arrogance, and prompted reconsideration. By the end of their visit, treaties were rewritten, fleets reassigned, and war plans quietly shelved. In orbit, predators of every class remained calm when humans approached. Some even nudged against their handlers in recognition of the humans' authority. The aliens called it the calming effect, but those who witnessed it knew it was more than mere obedience, it was understanding, mutual recognition of power without violence. Humans moved through ecosystems that had been deemed too lethal for alien explorers. Lava fields, acid storms, razor-tooth forests, they navigated all of it with deliberate, calm precision. Nothing could surprise them. Nothing could break their composure. And every challenge they met became proof that the legends of Deathworlders were not exaggerations. They were understated. The ripple effect extended into the military hierarchy of multiple empires. Commanders reported systems failing to act aggressively, AI fleets recalibrating instinctively around humans, and predatory species refusing to attack on their own initiative. Even the most sophisticated war machines began hesitating, sensing the humans' awareness and adapting before commands were issued. On Dyrith 9, the Alien Council finally admitted aloud what every fleet and planet already suspected: humanity could not be defeated by force alone. They were apex predators in their own right, not because of brute strength, but because of unmatched understanding, adaptability, and instinctual calm in the face of danger. Yet the humans did not flaunt power. They did not demand compliance. They studied, they learned, they demonstrated mastery without aggression. Entire civilizations watched in disbelief as humans strode among predators and hazards alike, leaving only awe in their wake. In the depths of the galaxy, stories began to circulate among alien species, the humans who could calm predators with a single gesture, survive the deadliest worlds unarmed, and shift the behavior of entire fleets without firing a shot. Legends whispered that humans were not merely Deathworlders, they were the measure by which all life would now be judged. And as the humans continued their journey from system to system, the predator that had first encountered them followed, a silent companion and living proof of their authority. It was a simple bond, but one that echoed across the galaxy. Humans did not command through fear. They commanded through understanding, instinct, and presence. The aliens were beginning to realize that no fleet, no weapon, no strategy could outmatch a species that had mastered itself. The council chamber stretched across the orbital platform like a cathedral of steel and light. Representatives of dozens of civilizations gathered, each expecting to assert dominance over what they assumed was a fragile species. Their fleets were massive, their weapons perfected over centuries of interstellar war. And yet, when the humans arrived, there was no fear, no hesitation, only measured steps and quiet confidence. The alien delegates whispered among themselves. "They are unarmed," one hissed. "No shields, no armor, nothing to protect them." A human stepped forward. No gesture of aggression. No raised voice. Just presence. The predator from Varkis curled at their side, observing the chamber with calm, unwavering eyes. "Deathworlders are a myth," the alien chair declared, its voice echoing across the hall. "We have prepared for your species. We will test you, and the galaxy will judge whether your survival is possible." The human's gaze swept the room. Calm. Steady. Judgment is not given by fear. It is revealed by understanding. The chamber fell silent. Every holographic monitor, every sensor, every Predator-class guard felt it. Even the Council's algorithms hesitated, unable to predict what would happen next. The tests began. Alien predators released in containment fields, environmental hazards activated, psychological manipulations initiated. Every scenario designed to overwhelm and break the human. And every time, the human responded with perfect composure. Movements fluid, reactions deliberate, awareness spanning predator instincts, environmental shifts, and alien expectations simultaneously. Observers recorded every anomaly. A predator that had been bred to kill on sight paused and then followed the human's hand. Storm generators, meant to simulate extreme climates, failed to destabilize the human. Psychological traps designed to exploit fear were rendered ineffective by an unshakable calm. The aliens recalculated. Simulations that had predicted victory in every possible permutation crumbled under the simplicity of human instinct combined with intellect. Every strategy was anticipated, every hazard countered, every predator managed. The council chair tried once more, Sumo. Ning, the largest predator in the galaxy, a creature whose size dwarfed battlecruisers. It lunged, teeth bared, claws extended. And yet, the human did not flinch. They reached out slowly, deliberately, stroking the predator's massive crest. Muscles relaxed, jaws lowered, and the room trembled with the shock of impossible obedience. A murmur rose from the chamber. "Impossible, they cannot be." The human raised a hand, not in threat, but in instruction. Every predator, every system, every algorithm in the room seemed to obey instinctively. Control was not taken by force. It was given by comprehension, patience, and presence. The council fell silent. The human spoke once more, not to command, but to teach. Dominance is not in aggression. Strength is not in destruction. Survival is in understanding, and mastery is in calm. From that moment, every fleet, every weapon, every predator-class species across the galaxy recalibrated not from fear, but from respect. Humans were no longer seen as fragile, primitive, or accidental survivors. They were apex in the truest sense, apex of instinct, intellect, and self-mastery. Whispers spread beyond the council. Fleets held fire. Colonies reconsidered expansion. Even rogue predators paused, unsure whether to attack or observe. Humanity had not fought a battle. They had not even drawn a weapon. Yet the entire galaxy had witnessed the ultimate test, and the humans had passed with effortless calm. And somewhere, in the void between stars, the predator at the human's side rumbled softly, a living symbol of authority and trust, proof that Earth's children had earned the galaxy's deepest, most reluctant respect. The ripple effect of the Council's encounter was immediate and unstoppable. Fleets that had once been confident in firepower now recalculated maneuvers at every sector, not daring to engage humans directly. Generals who had commanded thousands of ships felt hesitation they had never known. Their best-laid strategies faltered under the shadow of a species that required no weapons to dominate. On the frontier of the Korath cluster, a coalition of 3 empires had gathered to discuss the threat. They deployed entire squadrons to test humanity, expecting resistance, expecting challenge. What they found instead was calm, measured, deliberate, and utterly unassailable. Humans walked among predators bred for slaughter, navigating hostile worlds as though the environment itself bent to their awareness. Machines designed for war malfunctioned when faced with human adaptability. Ships attempting to flank or ambush found themselves neutralized by humans who anticipated every movement without effort. Across council chambers, debate turned into panic. "They are not invincible," a young admiral insisted, "but our weapons, our fleets, our strategies, none of it matters. They think, and the galaxy obeys instinctively." The humans did not raise a hand. They simply observed, studied, and responded with clarity and precision that was almost unnatural. When a predator lunged, they met it with patience, not force, stroking the beast into compliance. When environmental hazards threatened, they adjusted instinctively, moving with rhythm and balance no alien sensor could predict. Entire political systems began to shift. Colonies once hostile now opened communications, not out of alliance but out of caution. Even previously neutral species withdrew from contested zones, respecting the human's presence without fully understanding why. In the Korath cluster, fleets ceased hostilities as humans moved among the stars, their patrols unarmed, their ships minimalist, yet radiating authority. Commanders documented every anomaly, every deviation from predicted behavior, but the patterns defied mathematics. Humanity was rewriting the rules of engagement without firing a shot. By the time the humans departed the cluster, predators of every class followed voluntarily, a living testament to instinct mastered. Fleets realigned, political maps were redrawn, and legends of Earth spread faster than any weapon or fleet could travel. One elder, watching from the council chamber, whispered in disbelief, "They do not conquer. They do not fight. And yet every system bends to them." Across the galaxy, whispers became warnings, and warnings became acknowledgement. Deathworlders were real. Humans were apex. And no empire, no coalition, no predator could fully comprehend the quiet mastery they had displayed. And yet, humans moved on, calm as ever, unaware of the fear, awe, and respect they left in their wake. Their presence alone reshaped politics, fleets, and instinct, proof that the galaxy was no longer the same, and never would be again. By the time the humans returned to the edges of known space, entire empires had shifted subtly under their influence. Fleets recalibrated their formations, predator-class species obeyed instinctively, and planetary governments reconsidered expansion, war, and alliances. The galaxy had learned, not through fear, not through conflict, but through the quiet authority of a species that understood life itself. The human walked among the predators, stroking crests, adjusting movements, reading intentions with a precision no alien could match. Every gesture was deliberate, every step a lesson in calm mastery. Observers from dozens of civilizations could not look away. They recorded, they transmitted, they whispered to one another, but none dared challenge. Humanity did not fight. Humanity simply existed, and that existence was enough to command obedience. In the void beyond the Korath cluster, fleets once poised for engagement now held their positions, unsure whether to proceed or retreat. Sensors flickered, predictions failed, and algorithms that had governed war for centuries faltered. Humanity's mastery had reshaped the rules of strategy, instinct, and survival. On a barren moon, humans engaged predators that had been bred for generations to annihilate. The creatures circled, claws extended, teeth bared. And yet, when the humans approached, every beast stilled. Slowly, deliberately, muscles relaxed, jaws lowered, and eyes softened. The predators were calm. They followed, not because of fear, but because they understood the human's presence was absolute authority. Across the galaxy, the whispers became legend. Stories of humans who strode unarmed through the deadliest worlds, who calmed predators with a single gesture, who moved fleets without firing a shot, reached even the most isolated colonies. Scholars debated, politicians feared, and predators awaited in quiet acknowledgement. Humanity had not conquered. Humanity had transcended expectation. And the humans moved on. Not seeking glory. Not demanding tribute. Simply walking, observing, mastering, teaching through presence alone. In the council halls of Varkes, the Rix, and the Korath cluster, one sentiment echoed: Deathworlders were real, and humanity had proven the myth was understatement. One elder, eyes wide with awe, whispered as the humans disappeared from view, "We are not prepared for this species. We cannot predict them. We cannot control them. They are perfect predators in ways we cannot fathom." The predator at the human's side rumbled softly, a living symbol of the species' authority. And in the stars beyond, where light barely reached, life shifted instinctively. Predators waited. Fleets hesitated. Governments reconsidered. The galaxy itself seemed to breathe with the knowledge that humans had arrived, not to destroy, not to dominate, but simply to exist. And that existence, that quiet mastery, became the measure by which all species would now judge themselves. The legends of Deathworlders were true. But humanity was more than a legend. Humanity was the apex. And the galaxy would never forget it.